This is already the second time that I've attempted to film this because the first time my computer fucking crashed for some reason. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try my best to film this whole thing one shot for three reasons. Firstly, in case my computer crashes again. Secondly, because this is EP is something that I'm gonna be like rambling about a lot. And thirdly, because this might be my first video where I have somebody else edit the video for me. Anyway, let's get to summer. Where do I start? Well, I guess the best place for me to start is the first EP from this season's anthology, Spring, an album that has grown on me a lot more, both with re listens and with added context that has been given by Rivers Cuomo himself. With the re listens, I got to appreciate a lot more the lavish production with its perfect balance of folky medieval like instrumentations and guitars that sound amazing, like pure ear candy, balancing that with the classical composition and the fuzzy guitars and just rock mentality when it comes to the actual writing of the album. It makes a great balance of all those things, and it's just incredibly well written songs, both individual from each other and also in the overall context and story of the whole season's anthology. Because yes, all four of these EPs are connected. It follows a story that starts in spring with two angels going on vacation on Earth, and they stay there for a while. They're way too comfortable there. In the beginning of the summer EP, they're going like, "Hey, how about let's rebel against God? Like we don't like it up there in heaven. Let's just make Earth to our image of chaos." And with the overall emotion and theme that they focused most of the writing on in spring being happiness, that main emotion is now anger and just like love of chaos and destruction, which the same way they pulled off just pure joy, they incredibly pull off just pure anger with some of the heaviest songs that Weezer has ever put to tape. And with heavy, like I feel like when talking about Weezer going heavy, you usually think of like a song that's written like a Weezer song, but that just has like heavier production. Like no, like just riffs and licks and production choices that I would usually hear out of Metallica, Linkin Park. Sometimes with some of these songs, I even like hear them and I'm like, that I would hear it out of like a Muse record or an MCR record, not Weezer. And that has thrown me for a loop on the first listen of a lot of these songs, but like on repeat, it's amazing. It's like perfect. And that's like the beauty of this, but also like what kind of makes me angry that they had this perfect sound and they're only doing it for the one EP that's 23 minutes long. Like, did you really have to make the Black Album 45 minutes long and this one 23 minutes? And the songwriting again is great with just following the story. It very much feels like just like the moment of bliss just ended and now the idea comes up in like one of the two angels' heads of like we should start chaos, and then bam, like it just throws you into the chaos of the full album. And then that continues with tons of other songs on the album expanding on this idea of the chaos. And then there's Records, the lead single off the album, which I just fell in love with. You can draw a lot of parallels between that song and all my favorite songs. How like it is just like how songs make you feel. But in this case, instead of relating to sad songs, it's about getting your anger out through listening to songs that are just as angry as you are feeling at that moment. The line of when people make me mad, I don't hear a word that they say, just the sound of scratches. Like, man, that's songwriting right there. And it also feels like I have to mention something that I've thought about before, because Rivers' religion, he's a Buddhist, so a lot of his songwriting includes the word nirvana in it, but I feel like he's always missed the opportunity of making a nirvana in his religion, but Nirvana the band type joke. And in the post chorus of Records, he goes, I feel Rihanna, I feel Lana, I feel Nirvana. If he was saving that joke up until now, I feel like he saved it for a good reason because like that was a good that was a good reference. And records, the other song that also like reminds me of a lot is in the garage, where like both songs do feel like kid just like nerding out about just nerdy shit, but like in here it's almost entirely nerding out over music, his like record collection and shit. And again, when you're drawing parallels between a Weezer song and a Blue Album Weezer song, you know that that is always a good thing. Then there's Blue Like Jazz, that amazing riff for Blue Like Jazz. It's just. And then the opposite of me is the lyrics for the opposite of me are very much dark. I don't feel like they are autobiographical. Rivers has been getting a lot better at non autobiographical songs. He's been getting better at writing from the point of view of like characters and shit. So basically, Weezer is going through their folklore era where they're just writing songs about fictional characters. And the opposite of me is it very much sees one of the characters of the story just having the last straw that snapped the camel's back. And they felt like, you know what? I've had so many people walk over me. I'm just a doormat. But no, I will not be this anymore. All these people that stabbed me in the back, this guy who slept with my wife, I'm not gonna take his shit. And the entire instrumental and performance of this whole song just sells it entirely. It's great. And that whole feeling is extended throughout What's the Good of Being Good and then Cuomoville. Oh my god. I know that the title seems silly on Cuomoville because he's writing a song about a whole town that's just Cuomo's. No, the whole song is basically just what if you analyze the name, it's more just this is a town to my image. And if you look at what the dark side of that would be, just like a man playing God, and it completely sells like the entire darkness that would come from the wrong man playing God and being successful in playing God. And then you forget that this song has such a silly name attached to it. And then the whole album just ends on Thank You and Good Night, which just goes from one speed to the other and then to the other, then it cools down and then it builds back up. It feels like they're going out into battle throughout the entire song, and then last minute, one of the guys on the battle just starts flying up, and then starts falling, and then the ending is faked out 4 completely different times, but you fall for it every single time until it finally ends, and it is amazing. It's a 4 minute epic of a song, and it's great. Again, I said this for my spring review that I do not feel comfortable giving each individual EP its own rating because I will see this as its own album once all 4 parts are out. But I can tell you this, I was optimistic that with all 4 parts, this would be my album of the year. With this also being out and 2 more to go, if those other 2 are just as good, I'm confident that this is going to be my album of the year. Damn. Even if the last 2 parts don't end up being as good, at the very least, we got the first 2 parts, which were 2 amazing EPs. So, what do we really have to complain, really?